Hello guys and welcome to TFT EU Regional Finals Set 10 last day, game number 2.
We're this close for Wandering Trainers, but we just missed it. And now we're going where everyone is happy and committed to the looted carousels, but I think we're just about to get one guide again by the Radiant item by Skippers.
Nah, it's fine.
Okay. In today's introduction earlier a bit, I remember, I don't know if it was you or Panda or someone, one of you guys said that Skippers was never scared to go against every single person in the lobby, not just in real life, but also in portals. He is that one guy that is always going to pick a portal, and sometimes it does hit. So I think this time it was not the odds.
Well, I mean, certainly, loaded carousels, it feels like we're broadly in the same kind of space as item payout. Before our players were incentivized to slam their items early, this time they'll be getting just a higher quality of item coming through because they could potentially pick up, an item in its entirety off a carousel that's best in slot, particularly if they take some weak early boards.
I don't know what could we expect from the augments if it's not prismatic, because honestly, I'm bored of gold stars, man. Give me these cool pacts. Give me these martial progress. Give me these, what was it called? Endless hordes. I want to see some crazy stuff going into round 2. Okay, we kicked off with game 1. No one was taking any risks. Nothing was being massive. Actually, in fact, some of them were taking risks. We did see them, at least like 3 out of 8 players standing on Wandering Trainers. But I want to see some of these crazy boards and someone having the balls to go completely against the meta and completely against whatever is happening right now to win a game.
Definitely players like Skippers who, forge their own path will be favored by things being a little bit more unpredictable. Certainly, it was perhaps somewhat predictable that we would see the Heartsteel doing well in their first game, but getting first and second place, particularly against Shanard's Miracle board, was certainly telling for the rest of the day. It will be gold augments coming in, but we might still see our players picking up ones that can define their early game.
Gold augments it is. Live for Danger is an augment that has not been doing so well recently. But if you're going to be going for a carry roll and he does have an Elise Raj Rod, this could be kind of good for Judas Sword now. But he is still so far away from the Rage Blade. I mean, not the Rage Blade, the rest of the items. And considering his looted carousels, it might be worth going for. He does manage to somehow throw it away. Oh. Peter, your favorite augments. Escort.
My favorite augment 3 times over. 3 escort quests in this game. That's worst case scenario for all of them, because they all need to be winning rounds to be able to get the payout from escort quests. They're all going to be, when they face up against each other, of course, only one of them can do that. That's bad for all of them, and it helps players like I'm So Fresh, who's picked Stars Are Born, to not fall as far behind the curve as we would see in lobbies where there was maybe the only one escort quest player playing.
Yeah, judging by the positioning of this lobby, you guys want to keep a strong eye on your dummies. If they end up dying, you lose gold, you lose your win streak, and the fact that everyone decided to just go screw it, we're going to be playing with escort quests, is the kind of game that I wanted. Because with escort quest, you have 3 players saying that we want to keep winning, and they're not alone. Spoils of War and Skippers also do say the same thing, that he doesn't want to be losing in these early stages. So you've got at least half of the lobby going for the 5 win streak. Everyone is going to be spending that money, and everyone is giving away their carousel priority, because it doesn't matter. It's looted carousels anyway. One of these 2 components is going to be useful for me.
Oh, thank you for pointing that one out for us, and it does characterize the lobby as hyper aggressive. Our players, just be pouring everything in. You can see 0 gold on 5 of our players coming in to 2-2. They know exactly what the brief is. And the main question for me is here, who's going to be the one who comes out of this one ahead? Who's getting the spoils of war? Who's actually getting to cash out the escort quest? Because it may well be one or just 2 of those 4 really aggressive players who get to do it.
Yeah, more than making already slammed from Salvi's side. It is considered a good item even on AD carries in the early stages of the game, because the anti-healing is worth it. The extra attack speed that you get after the recent changes to the items also come in handy for your AD carry casting a little bit quicker. I need to know one thing. In looted carousels, I am not sure if the spatula rates are increased or not, since it's 2 components. Do you have any idea, Peter?
I'm afraid I don't know offhand, but I do just want to point out with the escort quest point from before, I believe that Salvi, Salvi lost his round, but Wet Jungler Did win his. So we're starting to see from those two players who have the escort quest, they've kind of had a mixed result so far. The one player with the escort quest who's standing out is Jedusor, though. He's won both of his rounds so far, and Skipers has won his round as well. So they're the ones who are really going to be starting to get the cash rolling in very quickly.
Yeah, so many gold augments here coming in for our players. And in a lobby like this, where it's gold augments, whoever gets with the 5-win streak is already on a massive head start against everyone else. Unlike people like Stranar, for example, he's decided to go with the lost streak here alongside Voltarex, who's so rich right now. 30 gold going into stage 2-3. Not spending a single penny, able to keep up with the lost streak. He doesn't play against Stranar, apparently, so he does get to keep his lost streak going. Volta is gonna be so rich, and you know what you can do with too much gold? Well, compensations.
All right, let's get our first carousel. It looks like we have got a spatula here for our players like Volta, who've been playing very weak in the early going. We'll scoop it out ahead of Shinar. But I really feel like Volta, as you pointed out, is the one who has taken the best advantage of the way this game's been shaped. You have multiple, you have half the lobby at least trying to play hyper-aggressive. So you instead take the lost streak route, get first access to these premium carousels, and also rake in the cash yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but did everyone just hear Meshmesha go absolutely mad?
Yes.
I don't know. Because I just saw the chat and everyone is spamming, Ragey, don't ignore me, cat. I mean, she does have to make a statement. Do you want to go reroll with them, Meshmesha? You're doing all good? Okay, switching back to the game. Voltarex, absolutely rich. The only one managed to get a spat. Currently not in a specific direction where he wants to go with it, but it could come in handy either way. And if he's able to keep up the lost streak, Peter, you said it yesterday, or 2 days ago was it with Rita? If you don't know what to do with it, just wait until the next carousel and bam, free tacticians.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility, but for Volta, we've got the 8-bit here already. If we can find a bow, and I don't think we've got too many other people. In fact, nobody in the rest of the lobby is posturing towards 8-bit. This could still be a very good finish here for Volta. We saw in the previous game, sure, the 8-bit didn't win the lobby, didn't have that 8-bit cash out we were kind of hoping for, but it's still a very, very good board, especially when uncontested.
Yeah, judging by the situation right now that Volta's in, it's looking so good for him. I haven't seen Country at all, but seemingly it could be an option for him. And hey, hear me out, hear me out. In a lobby with so much gold, and everyone is going to be going for real compositions, I'm looking at Kales, Sennas, Yasuos, and Yunes. Even if you're going for Twitch or Executioners, there are so many 3 costs that are going to be out of the pool for this. You know what a perfect game this does for? Country. You're uncontested, you're the only one with an emblem, and despite the fact that the composition has not been seeing the light for quite a while right now, I think in a lobby like this, Country could be perfect for Volta.
I mean, we'll see in longer term. I certainly wouldn't hate to see it. Skipers has been bringing out the Country a couple of times in his game, so variable results. Certainly the headliner choices coming in will swing Volta one way or the other. Certainly, you know, he's got the ribbon in place already, so it's going to be easiest to stick on this line. I do think, again, if we see someone else trying to move into 8-bit, that might change his mind to a road less traveled.
Okay, he's just put the Kale, keeping him on bench right now because he does know that the Pentacle emblem could be slammed on maybe an Akali later on. And you could go with the vertical Kale and Pentacles. That is not so hard. Now, judging by the positioning that he's in, he does get his lost streak broken by Shinar's board. Was that so fresh? And he's not able to stack that money in the bank. You saw that facepalm he had after he won that round? That was felt.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing, isn't it? Volta had been running it out and still has got a good amount of money in the bank, even if he doesn't have his streak. But yeah, with the 2 people lost streaking, those boards were both as weak as was humanly possible. The thing is, normally, you will just have that one person there, but this lobby's been so skewed. Looking up at the top, Jedusor, with the 5-round win streak with the escort quest, that is an absolute ton of 15 extra gold in because of just keeping a strong board. Salvi as well, managing to keep up a decent amount of wins. Skipers just below the player on the spoils, had been doing pretty well as well. So we've got a lot of gold flowing in, particularly to our top 3, to keep those boards as strong as possible.
Second set of augments. If you hear us, more dog, please let it be prismatics. I want to see stuff that is inflated. And oh, look at it. We finally get to see the Crowd Diver Katarina re-roll on one of the boards. And Wet Jungler has already spent so much of the money in the bank to go to level 6 immediately. Despite the fact that it was not even on a win streak. And wait, did he re-roll or did he spend the money on the XP? Because I'm pretty sure that this punk is just a placeholder now. This is not going to be a punk re-roll composition. And that is a very early level 6 push. But I think with the escort quest, does it make sense?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you wanted to try and get, if you can't necessarily have the same Genjisaur win streak, you're still getting paid 3 gold per round for any wins you get. So it's kind of even more gold than you'd be getting from streaking anyway. So, yeah, absolutely just play the strongest board you can. Unfortunately, Mortdog will not hear your prayers. It's gold for the second time round. But we do have some interesting augments coming out. Wet Jungler picking up the ramping rhythm and Volta locking himself into the 8-bit line. Insert coin means we know for certain now he's 100% headed down this road.
Why did it have to be that, man? Another Riven. Another Riven. We saw the spat earlier. And special thanks to Panda. He was telling me in the live chat channel and everything was like, hey, he's gonna play Riven, chill. I'm like, no, I don't want to see another Riven. But with especially with the insert coin, it does make sense that this is the only line that is gonna go for now. I mean, that does open up the room for Shinar, because Volta did hold a Kale on his bench that he's about to sell right now, and Shinar is sticking to the Kale.
See, Salvi up towards the top of the table, currently the highest on HP at the moment. You can see, hasn't spent any gold on rerolling at all. This is one of our newer overlays on the right hand side. You can see the leveling and the gold spend our players have been doing. You can see that across the board, I think this has become, one of the sort of defining traits for some of our top players is they are very much just playing what they can get without having to reroll, because they know that they've got a late game to consider that's going to be off the charts powerful, and they'll need every piece of gold they can get.
Yeah, Shinar able to finally win a round. With the sleight of hand that he has right now, he's been able to get some good frontline items, luckily, on that Nico. Not gonna happen twice, as a blue buff and a Godbreaker appear and come into action. Volta still maintaining that loss streak. Would have been way better if he didn't win that last round before the PvE round. About 12 gold difference would have been made if he could have maintained that full loss streak. I don't know if I've done the math correctly, but it was a lot of gold. Possibly able to hit 7 at this stage. And now with the looted carousels, it could be ideal to go immediately spending all of your money to stack up the Riven wins early as much as you can.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Just using Kale as a temporary stopgap there. I mean, especially once we get a few more stacks in on the 8-bit, we're getting a higher chance of dropping gold from the kills. So much in the same way as we'll see from our escort question from our Spoils of War, the insert coin is functionally just another Spoils of War that can pay out huge if you are dominant in rounds like Scapeus has been trying to be, as we can see at the top of the table, is being right now.
Now, judging by the situation of this lobby, it's extremely close. There's not been a single board that has been, let's say, doing absolute massive high rolls like what Shinar had last game maybe, and no one is maintaining a 7 win streak or a 5 win streak even until this stage. All thanks to the fact that if you just missed it, we had 3 escort quests and a Spoils of War coming from Scapeus. Looted carousels, the second one is not gonna have a secondary spat, so the only one currently sitting with an extra spat or an emblem is going to be Volta.
Volta gets the bow that he needs to get the 8-bit emblem online, so we know that his long-term future is secured, though his HP is looking a little shaky. Let's take stock, of course, where we are in the tournament. We are in the grand finals. These players will be playing against each other repeatedly. Dark Hydra, our reigning regional champion, who came in first in the first game, but Scapeus came in dead last. And he at least does seem to be in the position where he can maybe come back and get a solid recovery game.
Yeah, one thing I want to highlight, though, is that was the only bow on the carousel, Peter. Had Volta not been losing right now, that 8-bit emblem would have been delayed even way more and more than he would have looked for. He does manage to get the 8-bit Riven. I mean, the 8-bit Garen, sorry. But, hey, 6 8-bit is 6 8-bit. He's gonna be looking to farm the damages a little bit, but that Riven didn't come through yet.
Yeah, I think we're just placeholding for the time being. The thing is, you're still potentially getting the gold drops from insert coin. You need to make sure your board is decently strong, even if it isn't the perfect case scenario you'd like it to be. I mean, we've got the Caitlyn on the back line already with a little bit more time. I think we can start putting together more serious carries. We do have a bit of a problem here, though, that with the Escort Quest enhanced boards, they are a lot stronger than you would maybe otherwise expect them to be at this point in the game, just because they've been getting more gold and they're getting in huge tanks like this that Volta just can't get past.
Yeah, judging by the situation that Volta's in now, he has to spend every single penny after Wolves in order to be able to survive in this lobby. Now, there are two issues. There might be a chance he might not be able to get the Riven, and the second one is that he could get the Edgelord Riven. If he gets the Edgelord Riven, that's not too much of an issue. We've seen 4 8-bit Riven win yesterday when it had the... Never mind. I'm taking all that back. He gets it immediately, and the Edge... Oh, wait, it's his Edgelord Riven. Okay, I'll keep going. You can remove an extra Corki for some better frontline with Sentinels and put items on the Caitlyn.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but you just don't have any choice at this point. Volta is on 26 HP. He has to take what he's getting. I think Dreams of an 8-bit cash are honestly out of the question for him in this game anyway. Wet Jungler, we haven't seen for a little while. The Ramping Rhythm board, 4 rapid fire being put together here. An extremely unusual point composition to come in here. Much like Skipers, came out the first game without the finish he wanted. He's trying for something big here, but this board right now isn't quite strong enough.
Yeah, judging by the Ramping Rhythm right now, I'm so fresh this board, it's going to be a Senna, but no. Wet Jungler is not going to be able to break that 1 win streak. And now we're going into Wolves. Wet Jungler with full rapid fire. I think that this is going to be switched later on for a Lucian carry, perhaps. So he has to keep going until level 9 and he can play the legendary Flicks. But he's not been doing so well with his jobs. He's only been tanking a Vi going into stage 4. There is a Vi tank on his board.
Yeah, when you've got the Ramping Rhythm, you really want the time for the rapid fires to get the job done. Certainly, you've got enough backline carries to be getting on with. Skipers, though, has dropped down a little bit from the top of the board. The Spoils of War now being added onto some extra board strength with the Jeweled Lotus. You can see we've got some pretty aggro frontline-centric items in place already, and some pretty good drops from the shop.
Yeah, look at that Skipper's situation right now. Jeweled Lotus and Spoils of War. 1 perfectly timed combat augment and 1 gold augment that he's able to get a lot of resources with if he's able to rank up kills. Hasn't been winning so far, but he's been able to get so many kills that his economy is looking really good. Hydra's now re-rolling. That is going to be a Seraphine re-roll again coming in from his side. And Volta does manage to get that 8-bit Ribbon as well and hits her up just before the final penny is spent. He gets that Ribbon just on time.
Holy moly, that I don't know quite how that came together, but that's an incredibly bold move. But this is the version of the board that Volta was hoping for, and we can see exactly why. We haven't even got that many stacks of 8-bit in place yet, and that Ribbon hits like a truck.
Yeah. Did we say this on broadcast or not? Because remind me if I don't want to be repeating it. Volterix is that one player that does not give any risks, give or take. He's the go big or go home player. And that move he just did right now is the ballsiest move you could see. You're running on 20 gold, you have the headliner, you're just 1 Riven away, he sells her, he decides to go for the 8-bit Riven for the maximum value. Did we say that on broadcast? Because if we
I believe the way it was phrased was he plays like he's going to hit, and he absolutely did hit in this game. We've also got the Banshees for the front line as well, so that's not just a one-off crowd control removal for that Riven. She's going to have crowd control immunity for most of the round. So everything is coming together, but everyone else's board is also gaining in strength. Jenny saw the one who came out ahead of the Escort Quest Brawl has got a board worthy of a player who's got a lot more money than they should do.
Okay, if he doesn't win that lobby, I don't know who will. He's got the Banshees, so that is essentially like some BIS for the Riven, because he didn't have a QSS so far, and everything is just coming for him. Shannara, still a little bit far away from that Kale. Almost 4 copies away, not a single duplicator. Already has the headliner, so he does have to spend a lot of money going into it soon. But his items are looking really good. Also, the Steve's Gloves with a sleight of hand on the front line is going to be keeping his Mordekaiser alive for some time. But against a very early Israel 2 coming from Salvi, who's already on level 8 with the Inspiring Epitaph, has so much attack speed and so much tankiness on that Israel shouldn't be having any hard times against Shinar. But I take it back. Shinar's skill is just way too broken.
I did want to take a little moment just to recognize what we saw briefly on the right-hand side of the screen there, where we had the displays of the gold spent on leveling up and the gold spent on rerolling. For our top 4 players, they've spent an inordinate amount of gold on leveling up, and I suspect quite recently because we've seen an extra surge of power coming in, and these boards are starting to really ramp up. You mentioned the Kale is not quite complete. For Fresh, we've nearly got a complete Senna as well. Once these 3-star 2 costs really land, that's a huge spike across multiple players.
Yeah, I'm so fresh. Spent so much gold as well. Still 2 copies away from the cannon, which he's using as a frontline unit right now, and 1 copy away from his Senna. Stars Are Born should have made this comp get into a position where it hits quite easily, because you do have an augment that essentially guarantees you a Senna 2-star as soon as you buy her from the shop. Alongside the headliner, you should be fishing for only 3 copies. And if he began with 1, and if he had the idea that he wants to go for the Senna, it should have been hit a little bit earlier. So considering I'm So Fresh's current board state, he's on a low roll.
I mean, we're certainly seeing some of the power of these 2 costs. That we saw the Senna, or the 2 Sennas there at 2-star, and the Kale at 2-star before still get the win in. But I do want to bring the conversation back around to Dark Hydra, especially as the first place finisher from the first game. Oh, I'll hold that thought. It's exactly as you said, Morgan. Dark Hydra, the one with the spatula in pocket, finds another spatula on the carousel.
There are so many spats. Now I'm gonna be quite convinced. I don't know what anyone tells me. I don't know what. Screw the statistics. If it's looted carousels, the amount of spats coming are going to be a little bit higher than normal. Because we've had 4 spats this game. 1 appearing in the early stages of the game for Volta, which he's been able to make an 8-bit emblem with. And we just got 3 more. Considering what Hydra got, this is a game where it's looted carousels, and we saw 5 spats appear. For someone like Dark Hydra, is it KDA? Is it Tacticians, Peter? What is he gonna do with it?
Oh boy, I mean, you've seen that, if you really want to cap out, you can go for the 2 individuals, but for Dark Hydra, yeah. The thing is, there's so many eyes on him in this game. He's not just the reigning regional champion, he's also the player with the most points. If Dark Hydra goes out with a big loss in Game 2, that functionally resets a lot of the tournament. If he gets a strong win in here, he starts to move into a position to lock down that top spot and really challenge for the regional title early on in the day.
Okay, judging by the states of this lobby, why have they not hit so way back earlier? We've got Shinar rerolling on that Kale. We have got I'm So Fresh rerolling the Senna. We have got Dark Hydra rerolling the Seraphine. Volta rerolling the Riven. And no wait, Shinar actually rerolling the Lulu. My bad, but there was someone rolling the Kale. So you've got 5 boards rerolling compositions. 3 of them which are rerolling 2-star costs. Why did it take them so long to hit it? Classic TFT.
I could only assume it's just because of how aggro the lobby has been. We've got lots of people swapping wins and loss streaks to each other, because not everybody's got escort quests, so it definitely feels that way. I think it's made for a volatile lobby, but Geniusaw again was the player who came out ahead from this 4-way brawl of players wanting their win streaks. Geniusaw got his. He's now got the 3-star Mordekaiser to keep him at the top of the standings.
Yeah, special thanks to Makes. I was mod checking for that Shinar kill, but he did pivot from her and decide to go for the Lulu, which he's been having way better luck looking for her now. But you know who's not having so much good luck? Wet Jungler. Not able to get that Lucian a little bit earlier, and he's still sitting on 2 blue buffs. I mean, 2 tiers. Speak of blue buffs, that blue buff Lulu with the Shojin has a lot of mana and a lot of CC coming in. Also, the Gunblade is keeping her alive against all of these Caitlyn casts. She's not gonna be dying, as he tanks so much damage from Wet Jungler's board. Dark Hydra is here for the spectate, but Shinar takes a pretty nice win against Wet Jungler's board.
Oh boy. We're emerging into one of the timelines I don't think anybody could have predicted. We talked about, if Dark Hydra loses this game, it resets the tournament. If Wet Jungler and Skippaeus, particularly the bottom 2 from the first game, lose again, that creates a scenario where their comeback is very, very hard to countenance. Wet Jungler, I mean, he took the road less traveled in this game. He chose a very, very unusual board. I think it's only really now starting to show its full potential, and it may not get a chance to really take flight.
Yeah, he spent a lot of money, by the way, trying to get that Caitlyn, and he is able to get her. Also, a very good highlight we got from Rita is that he sold the Blitz too. So he did sacrifice so much frontline coming in. He did get the headliner on that Thresh with the Guardian. However, if you're going to be playing the Caitlyn as your main carry, her headliner effect is really important. That other shot that she shoots really does make such a huge role in one-shotting these backline units.
Salvi's looking pretty darn good. The 2-star upgrade comes in with the last piece of gold in inventory. Salvi currently sitting on a healthy 46 win streak. You can see the power on display throughout this whole lobby. You know, the 2-star rerolls trying to come online, but the end game board are here so much sooner than they should be. Jegisaw, of course, leading the pack. That pentakill emblem in place. The Morkaiser 3. This board is off the charts good.
Yeah, just to say, in case anyone was not there in that last game, just as Peter mentioned, the same exact board Salvi's playing for the game that he got second with Jungler. Not able to get another win in this round, I'm afraid. And that is either delayed damage or he could be dying of some cinematic, because his HP bar has been stable on 14 for quite a while. So he went out 7th in the last game, and now he could be going 8th. He did win that round, we just started updating, and Volta surprisingly lost. Who was Volta against?
Oh, we can see on the left-hand side, Shinar. Thanks to our production for all of these fantastic tools to tell us all the different things we need to read. There's a lot of information in a TFT game, to be fair, to keep track of a long time, but the one thing that's front and center in my mind, Morgan, a Wet Jungler, Dark Hydra, Volta, they're all on around 1 or 2 lives at best, and we could be seeing some shocking eliminations coming up.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sad about the Hydra situation, man. That's a lot of money spent for the Seraphine and still not able to get her just on time. Still 2 Seraphines away. The items are looking too good, but the Karthus items are looking even better. He drops down the Requiem as he drops down that Banhammer on Dark Hydra. May have got him fast in that last lobby, but in this one, you are not seeing the light as Dark Hydra is the first to go out from lobby number 2.
He's not the first. Volta goes out in the same round in 8th place, which means Dark Hydra doesn't fully reset his day, but he gets about as close as he could do. Again, that's amazing news for everybody else, particularly Salvi in 2nd place, who can potentially leapfrog the 1st place Dark Hydra and move into pole position.
Yeah, at least he does get saved this time. I don't know what happened to Volta, but that board, we must have jinxed it. That was a very early Riven that he got there after he sold... well, not so early because he did get an Edgeroll Riven and have to sell her. But I think that this was the break point. He spent a lot of money trying to get the 8-bit, not enough to be able to get that damage buffs coming in for insert coin. And now, it is Shinar's Lulu against that lovely, lovely board with Caitlyn that has finally been able to deal with Wet Jungler. It could be the last round for him, Peter.
I love that Wet Jungler decided to bring us out something a little bit different here. But you can see the Caitlyn is the one who's being relied on as the primary carry. But it's just not quite come together. I think this was a board that could have been a back-breaking board for the lobby, given enough time. But Wet Jungler has run out of time. He will leave in 6th place to go with his 7th place from before. Not the start we were expecting for him.
Yeah, honestly, not the best items that were doing this Caitlyn. We did speak yesterday, I think it was covered heavily by you and Wida in day number 1, that Rabadons is kind of good on Caitlyn because her scaling is not that bad. Also, the bonus % damage that she does get from the Rabadons is nice, but there was no sustain against the board that had so much damage coming in from the Lulu and all that CC, doing absolutely nothing to keep her alive. Looking at that carousel now, anything catches your eye, Pete?
Honestly, I was looking across the compositions we got online there at the bottom of the screen just to try and check if anyone was going to be able to take the big leap out of that carousel. I do want to highlight Shinar currently at the top with the Lulu reroll. Has, I think, already had some very good items in place from the very beginning, and it's now found even more to bring the Ari online as well. Scapeus is the one I think who's a little caught in no man's land here. He wants to break through to the top 4, but Fresh and Jegisaw, they both got a lot of HP immediately above him.
Yeah, judging by the state now, the Scapeus board is in. It is not going to be an easy fight against a fully 3-star itemized Senna with a Giant Slayer that is able to be taking down this Nico just on time. The Karthus gets the first cast, luckily not even on the Senna. She was able to tank in so much damage. Crown God and Summoner's Balls have been keeping her alive on so much. But now if the Karthus gets one more cast, she's going to get absolutely obliterated as he's able to completely counter the Senna composition because he gets a free backline access as she doesn't. As Scapeus gets a massive win against SoFresh's board.
I mean, that is a door further open against Scapeus. Came in to the first game dead last, so he's definitely managed to move up. But the question, it still does become whether he's playing for top 4s or playing for top 1s. Certainly as a more strategic player, I would expect to see more a top 4 focus. But this lobby is so volatile, I think it's going to be very hard to predict how these last few fights are going to play out.
Yeah, judging by the current board states, it would be quite impossible to tell because a lot of these were just ghost fights. A lot of these were before people were actually able to get to the pivot and their strongest points. But now, it is either I Am So Fresh who's staying in this lobby, or Salvi's just taking another loss and we're going into stage 6 with top 4 players.
And Salvi's board is looking really good. We've got the Ezreal fully itemized, we've got the Zed itemized as well. You can see the Zeds even cutting through tanks like nobody's business, and the board is not clumped up until this point in the way that the center board would like. So yeah, for Fresh, that's a big L, and I think that sends him out entirely, which means our top 4, I think, are going to be secured, as Capeus, I think, just about survives that last round.
Yeah, Judasaur also takes another loss, but he does have enough HP to be able to tank it. Never mind, Capeus actually does win this one, and it's Capeus who tanks. But now, what possible upgrade could he look for in this board? A Yorick? He already does have a 2-star Viego, so he's not able to get to level 9 as well. There's not much he can do from this PvE round, Peter. It is not going to be a huge upgrade to Capeus' board regardless.
Yeah, I think for the rest of the day, the path for Capeus through the tournament is the slow and steady takings of top 4s, top 3s in games, and trying to get across that line by the end of the day. We'll see if he does find any games we can maybe sneak out a higher finish, but in this lobby, you know, Shanar's on the 6-round win streak, Salvi's on a 5-round win streak. They've got a ton of gold, they've got a ton of HP. The only potential grab you can make here is the digital spot currently in 3rd.
Yeah, I think he's maybe cooking a Viego 3 here, but still very far away from the cause. Not even a single frontline item here that he could go for. But judging by the current state of his board, he doesn't have any anti-healing except for the Morellos on the Yorick, which he does get to apply on so many of the units. So essentially, what could be the best item here? He also has a Death Spat that he's not been able to get a single chain vest to apply with, so it's 6 Pentakill. Very unlucky for Capeus. The 4 Salvi's board, which is currently fully stacked, Pete.
I don't think there's going to be time for this board for Capeus to really come online. We've got the target dummy from the escort quest, of course, buying a little bit more time because the Karthus will target that ahead. We do have a decent breakthrough to the backside. The cast is almost enough to take out the Ezreal, and maybe, I'll eat my words here, it's going to be down to the wire, and the Ezreal actually drops to the auto attacks. Now Zach's dancing around. One more big ult, I think, should just come out. No!
Oh my god, Capeus. Ah, that's just quite unlucky. I think that everyone that has played Zac in these past few days has been able to get bouncing wins one after one. And, you know, the Death Spat is just so unlucky. That is a 7 pentakill diff, I assure you.
It really reminds me of what we've seen before from Blitzcranks in a similar situation as well. Those tanks in the end of round, particularly against these ramping multi-target carries, do very well indeed. We're down to our top 3. Salvi is still on the win streak. Remember, Salvi and Shannara had 2nd and 3rd place finishes in our first game. For them to finish in the top 3 of this game as well is fantastic for them. Jejisaur finished out in 5th place in our first game. So we're actually starting to see our points getting really concentrated towards the top of the table. And it's all about who can get the most points out of this game.
Here comes another Karthus board, this time amped up with a very strong front line with 4 Sentinels. That is 70 MR and AR on his frontline units, and 35 to all of his team. A lot of damage coming in from the Karthus again, just one more cast and he's able to take through Salvi's board. And the only difference maker between these two boards, it is 5 Pentakill as well, but that front line is way too strong. Also the backline access he had with the Akali ensures that Judasaur's board is going to be having so much success against Salvi, and this is something that Capeus' board lacked. Backline access in time to kill the Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much of any of the 80 flex boards power is into the Zed and the Ezreal. You can take them down, you're in a really good spot. This is honestly a great situation to be in as well. Jejisaur, the player on the lowest HP, they're being the ones who's getting the wins in. It forces Salvi and Shannar to spend their gold to try and push their board power, knowing that they can't just coast into an easy top 2.
Is it going to be an easy top 2 as well, considering the items on the Ari from Shannar? And the current board state and the amount of money he has in the bank, he is ready to take an L and then go into the carousel and upgrade his board another one. He does have that Lulu also fully itemized with Gunblade. I don't think that this Akali is going to be able to delete him on time. He has a lot of anti-healing coming from the Morellos on this Ziggs. The Akali does put her focus on that little Lulu, but she's able to heal through with that Gunblade, not taking any damage, absolutely countering the one mechanic of the Executioner Kalthus to take away the backline units in time. And Judasaur will not even live for another day to upgrade, but Shinar instead gives him the Jais of Panda.
Yeah, I really underestimated how strong Turkish players' board was there. That was a hilariously huge loss to hand out. And we're down to our final two. I mean, this is huge for both of these players here. Shinar pick up just a little bit more tankiness to buy time. Salvi just looking to get another carry online. I think we'll have a couple of engagements between these two at least before we find out who will leave game 2 of the finals with the premium amount of points.
And both of them were top 3 in last game as well. Shinar and Salvi, this is not new for both of them. They met that last game in the top 3 positions where Salvi was able to get a 2nd place and Shinar was able to take a 3rd now. It is redemption between Germany and Turkey and who's able to take the win on a 2nd game of the day to pump up their points, get some good mental, and have an edge on Dark Hydra, who took over game 1 but was not able to defend it one more time. And now, Salvi against Shinar in battle number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, this is a fantastic encounter. Shinar definitely, getting the chance to prove himself here in a region dominated by Ging for such a long time to try and show that there's more to this region. He's certainly been building up his momentum. A big win here could make a big difference, but the Lulu can't quite stand up. Or can she? It's down to the target dummy at the end. You can see there, Salvi, a little bit of resignation. Shinar, completely implacable. No change of facial expression at all, but at least our observers were excited to see it.
Let's zoom in on the closest fight ever. Oh, very close hit from the dummy, but Shinar's board is able to take up the win. Judging by the stage and the state of the fight at the start, you would be thinking, oh, Salvi's definitely going to win that. He just obliterated his backline, but that third Lulu cast was massive. And the fact that Spellweavers keep amping up the more that the fight goes on, and now that Shinar is even going to be able to put in Dazzler, so that does give a little bit more damage to his board, and some more damage reduction on Salvi's board. This could be the final fight for Salvi if he loses it, and Shinar with that upgrade could be taking game number 2.
Yeah, they're both two players who've been working for this an awful long time. Shinar with 3 regionals before, Salvi with 5 regionals before. Building up for the big punch. Salvi, I have to think at this point, is expecting this one to go against, but it was so close last time round. The Luna getting hammered, but stays alive for a few seconds longer. The Zed is down as well. The carries have gone, but we have got the Ari left standing. 1 versus 5 in the corner. She hasn't got the life still, so Shinar takes the L. The pendulum swings back the other way.
Well, this time, there's been a pretty nice difference. He didn't want that gold from the escort quest anymore. It took him 6 stages to realize that now this is the time where we frontline this dummy. Because the last fight, I hate to break it to you, Peter, but he could have won the game there. If he blazed it in front of the board, he could have been able to kill the Seraphine. We saw the Seraphine spend like 20 seconds trying to kill that dummy. I don't want to be that guy, but it was a positioning diff. It was.
I think that's the thing, when the players look back on this event afterwards, and bear in mind, we're only in game 2 out of game 6, they're going to see all of these small optimizations they could have made, but just didn't make in the heat of the moment. There's a lot of pressure knowing that, while this is only game 2, the finish you get here might be the extra point that ticks you over into the top 4 and sends you through to the Global Championship. Doing a little bit of last second recombobulation of the boards. Shinar's got the extra bit of tankiness. Salvi stacking up all the damage on the right-hand side.
Yeah, he also got some good frontline upgrades right now, and this is the final form between Shinar and Salvi. The positioning is made. Both of them were able to get wins against each other in the last 2 rounds, and now who gets to take it home is this fight that determines it.
Last second change for the Ezreal overs on last hand side for Salvi, which means we could get a crisscross of damage. The middle of the board evaporates just like that, and suddenly it's Salvi pumping his fist and saying, I found the secret to the formula. He will go in for a very strong game 1 into an even stronger game 2 and put himself at the top of